Hi, I'm Brenda Ellis, author of Artistic Pursuits, an art curriculum for preschool through high school. Today I wanted to talk about two views of how the brain works, and I want to talk about how we think can affect the results that we get in our art. Now, 5 decades ago, scientists held a view that there were people that were strong in the right hemisphere of the brain, or they were strong in the left hemisphere of the brain. And if you were a person that was right-brained, you would be creative and artistic. They're big picture people. And if you were strong in the left part of your brain, you would be a person that liked logic and you liked to take a step-by-step approach when you came to learning anything new. Now, the problem with this idea is that it tells us that what we were born with is who we are, and it really defines who we are. And so a right-brained person might not be able to think that they can go into learning logic and mathematical types of areas of life. And a left-brained person might think that they couldn't be artistic and creative. Today, we find out that these things just aren't true. Today, scientists have a different view. So our current view on how the brain works is that from the time we were born, our brains were creating neural pathways. Think of a brain as starting out smooth, not understanding a lot, not knowing a lot, but as we learned a new skill, it was creating these neural pathways. And these are pathways that we take. So something like walking, it was hard at the beginning, but as we did it over and over and over again, we got good at it. In fact, you are so good at walking right now that you don't even have to think about it. And that's the way with any new skill. So I want you to think about learning to make art if you've never made it before. Think about yourself as being on top of a snow-covered hill. And the first time that you make art, you are going to take a slide down that hill. And so what you find out is that you go down that hill and you hit a bump. Ooh, then you make a little turn and then you hit another area where, oh, that didn't go right in my art. And so then you keep going down that hill and you keep trying and it's a little rough. But when you get to the bottom, what if everyone said, wow, great job, you did so well? Well, you would feel like, wow, I did something hard and I really got through it. So that would encourage you to get back up on that hill again and take another ride down. And that is how we learn a skill. When we do it again and again, those paths become smoother and it becomes easier. And eventually, we don't even have to think about it. Our brain kind of puts it in the background and we just draw and we're able to do it very easily. There are many people who would consider themselves left-brained. They like to learn in a step-by-step way, but they are coming to art and they are enjoying the creative process, just like all of us creatives who love to just go for things without really thinking about it. So I think that this new model on the brain really tells us that anyone can learn art. Anyone can learn this skill. If this is your first drawing, it might be a rough going down that hill, learning this skill of drawing. But as you do it again and again, it will become easier and easier. So today, I'm really excited to show you one of the biggest problems that I see with a lot of first-time students. Now, this may not necessarily be your problem, but if it is, then it'll really help you to go through this short lesson. And what that is drawing too small. I see a lot of people drawing too small, and I think the reason for this is that, remember our brain, it creates a pathway. And we all spent many, many hours learning to write by hand. And so our handwriting gestures were small gestures to make those letters. So we used our fingers, but we didn't really move our hands. And art is a different thing. In art, we move our wrists, we move our arms, we're making larger gestures. So it's not a handwriting process. But when your brain picks up that pencil, it goes into automatic. And so automatically, you want to make the small gestures that you make for handwriting. One of the most common hindrances to a good drawing is drawing too small. When we draw small, we don't have room to add the details or the areas to fill with color. Today, I've chosen to work with tools that you'll have at home: copy paper and a number 2 pencil. I want you to think about making marks that are similar in size to the objects that you see. Tear the paper to be just large enough to sit your objects within. Then draw on a sheet of paper that is the same size. As I draw, I'm not thinking about making perfect geometric circles because fruit isn't perfect. I'm looking at how close the curves of the orange are to the edges of my paper. I also look at the distance between each orange. My first marks are about getting these measurements close to what I see. For very young children, simply figuring out the arrangement of the 3 pieces would be a great step in learning to work from observation. As I draw the sections of the sliced orange, I'm looking at the orange. I'm not guessing. I'm not just filling in lines because oranges have sections. I am looking at each section and drawing a line as close to that area on my drawing as I can. Erase areas that have become too cluttered. Redraw the lines where you want them. Drawing from observation means I continue to look at my object and redraw what I'm noticing now. You might try this exercise again and again. The more you practice, the easier it will become to make your marks large in size. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed learning to draw from observation. Be sure to sign up on our email list so that you can receive notification of each new lesson. I'll see you next week.